Hello everyone, this is part 44 of What If Naruto Passed the Genin test, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. So this is it, Ino asked quietly, standing with Naruto's arms wrapped around her. The caged Genin nodded once. It's all going to be over soon. I will finish this for you, for me, for all of us, and then we can all have our happily ever after. That is, if Shikamaru could hurry things along. Ino sighed. It was dark in the forest less than a mile from Konoha as Naruto's strike force waited for permission from Sakura to enter the village. Naruto had sent Shikamaru ahead to obtain that permission, though it was really just a formality at this point. Shikamaru's true purpose had been to ensure a meeting between the heads of the village without alerting Sakura to Ino's presence. Shikamaru has climbed quite a few ladders while I was gone, noted Ino. You said he was head of Anbu now. Something like that, Naruto nodded again, glancing around at his resting but weary troops. He's quite a guy. For a while I was worried he might be trying to work against me, actually he was, but that's not important now, but he cares about Konoha more than anything else. What should I do while you're in Oto? Asked Ino. If I'm not under house arrest. She grinned and leaned into him a bit more. Naruto thought for a moment before answering. I won't be gone long, 2 days at most, but I'm going to need someone to keep these hooligans. He nodded off towards the strike force, an almost affectionate tone permeating his words, in check. Help Shikamaru keep things running smoothly. If he or Neji ask anything of you, make sure it's done as quickly as possible. Just help out however you can. The whole forest stirred as Naruto's ninja trained their attention on the lone figure springing into the small clearing they'd claimed. It was Shikamaru. He immediately ran to Naruto. Sakura granted us permission to move into the city, he said quickly, looking between Naruto and Ino, and she's called a meeting of the highest ranked ninja to discuss what moves we should make next. Ino gulped once, but stood firm next to Naruto. SC. You're going to be fine, Naruto whispered to Ino as the two of them walked, hand in hand, down the exposed walkway several stories above the ground leading to the steward's office. He gave her hand a reassuring squeeze and then turned back to his bodyguards, the three sisters. You don't have to do this, you know. Trina shook her head and looked at Naruto with her crimson eyes. Forget it, Naruto-sama. If you're going to move against Oto, then we're going to come with you. We'll spearhead any effort you make. The other two sisters both nodded. Right, said Alicia. We're yours to command, remember. Karena was, as always, impassive, but strangely more resolved than her usual self. I appreciate this, he said to all of them. We're going to need all the firepower we can get at the front line when this goes down. Just remember, said Shikamaru from the head of the column of 6 ninja, we're going to need troops at home too in case Orochimaru launches a desperate offensive as a last effort. I'd almost rather they stayed here, Naruto. The caged Genin shook his head, playing his part. Shikamaru, we're going to need every spare ninja to attack Oto, understand? I'm glad Trina, Karena and Alicia are going to be tagging along. Alicia grinned in solidarity, we're behind Naruto-sama all the way. It's almost a shame Ino-chan can't come though too. The blonde girls smiled at each other. In the short trip back to Konoha, Ino had formed a fast bond of friendship with Naruto's guards. Not a damn chance, thought Naruto. I don't want her anywhere near any danger. We'll see, said Shikamaru, stopping in front of the only door on the walk with a shining lamp beside the curtained window. He knocked once and immediately the door opened. Jiraiya, a mountain of red and white, stood on the other side. About time you guys got here, said the Sannin. We've been waiting for almost half an hour. Sorry, interrupted Naruto as Jiraiya opened the door all the way for them to enter. I needed to make sure all of my men got accommodations for the night. Shikamaru stepped over the threshold and into the office. Naruto felt Ino's pulse quicken in her fingertips, but held her hand firmly as he led her through the door, followed quickly by the sisters. The office hadn't changed much. It was still relatively small, wood-paneled with shaded windows. It was darker now though, the only illumination came from the lamp on Sakura's desk. The pink-haired kunoichi sat smilingly in her leather-backed office chair, waiting anxiously for Naruto to enter. Sakura's grin widened as Naruto stepped over the threshold, but froze on her face the instant she saw who he led by the hand. She didn't grimace, but her grin became very, very forced. Glad to see everyone could make it, said Shikamaru, looking around. Besides the steward and Jiraiya, Mito Guy, Chuji, and a man in a crane uniform wearing a strange orange mask were all waiting. But we should probably get things underway as quickly as possible. There's much to discuss. Indeed, said Sakura loudly and venomously. She still wore a very fake smile. As all of you know, two of Orochimaru's top agents are and he's been forced on a defensive. All known sound troops are falling back to Oto to regroup, but the crane is doing a magnificent job confusing their communications and delaying their movements. Oto is almost unguarded. This is our chance to get in quickly and finish this before Orochimaru has a chance to get himself together and drag this war on any longer. She glared at Ino. Although it seems he's lost more than just two of his best agents. Every eye in the room turned to the Yamanaka kunoichi. Ino, continued Sakura, I'm surprised to see you've gotten back to us safe and unharmed. Ino smiled accommodatingly, dumping a bucket of hot coals on Sakura's head. So am I, she said. I don't know how he pulled it off, but somehow Naruto managed to destroy the demon entirely. He's pretty amazing like that. Now, if you're willing, I'd like to repledge my services to Konoha. I'll admit that I won't be able to tell you anything important that you don't already know, she was addressing the whole room now, but nonetheless, I'm ready to do my part. Sakura's glare deepened. Everyone in the room held their breath, knowing that, but not how much, venom was seething behind her eyes. What could you possibly offer us that we don't already have? The steward glanced between Naruto and Ino. Honestly, I'd feel better if we had you confined until such a time as it can be determined beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're not going to turn on all of us. That can be arranged, Naruto broke in before anyone else could respond. Sakura, if it would make you feel better, Ino would have no problem being placed in protective custody for the duration of the war. The room fell silent for a moment as everyone looked around, uncertain. Chuji, Guy, Jiraiya, and the others were all hesitant to step into a conversation they knew was personal, but none of them had the courage to try and steer the meeting back on the proper course. Finally, Shikamaru spoke. I'll look after her, he said quickly as Sakura was about to speak. It will let me make sure she really is trustworthy. Sakura-sama, if it would put your mind at ease, I'll keep my eye on Miss Yamanaka until the war is over. Sakura glared at the Nara, but Naruto spoke first. No way, Shikamaru, he said tersely. I hate to change the subject, but right now we need to talk about what's going on with Orochimaru. Naruto watched from the corner of his eye as the crane ninja in the spiraled orange mask turned to watch him. He's off balance, continued Naruto, looking between Jiraiya and Sakura. We need to hit him hard and we need to hit him now. With your permission, Sakura, I'd like to take my men as well as a few dozen reinforcements and wipe Oto off the face of the map. I don't think, Shikamaru tried to break in, but let Naruto cut him off. With me and Jiraiya and the sisters at the lead, continued the cage Junin, maybe Shikamaru and Guy, if the both of you are willing, he gestured to the Anbu head and the green Junin, I think we could take out Orochimaru and his entire army in one bloody day. We'd lose a sizable portion of the troops we sent, but I think we could blast Oto into oblivion and end the war quickly. I agree with Naruto, said Guy, speaking for the first time and stepping forward. If we hit Orochimaru super hard we can destroy him, the Junin growled, clenching his fist in front of his face. Naruto hadn't noticed before, but Guy's eyes were bloodshot. It would be worth the loss if we could take the bastard down. Let's put a force together and leave tonight. Jiraiya stepped up next to Guy. Don't let yourself get too emotional, said the Sannin carefully. I know you're hurting about Lee and Tenten, but you can't. Don't talk about those two, Guy barked, whirling on Jiraiya. We need to take out Orochimaru before he can do this to anyone else. What happened to Tenten and Lee? Asked Ino and Naruto in unison. I said don't talk about them, growled Guy. The room began to hum as several conversations broke out at once. Ino walked forward and asked again what happened to Lee and Tenten, while Jiraiya began to ready himself to restrain Guy, who was cursing loudly and shouting that they had to go after Orochimaru. The sisters were mumbling amongst themselves while Naruto and Shikamaru began to argue over what size of force to send. This is almost funny, thought Toby from his spot in the corner. This rabble should be all too easy to destroy once Naruto and Jiraiya leave for Oto in the morning. I said don't talk about them. Guy yelled. We can't spare the men if you want the village to be safe, growled Shikamaru. And we can't destroy Oto without sparing the troops, Naruto retorted angrily. Shikamaru, pull your head out for a minute and think. This is our best chance. It's too risky. What happened to Lee and Tenten? Questioned Ino, her voice strained. Are they alright? Did something happen to them? Shut up. Guy barked. Quiet. Sakura shouted. She stood up and clapped her hands loudly on the desk, filling the room with a loud crack as the mahogany surface split beneath her palms. Everyone immediately turned all their attention on the room rattling voice. All of you, shut the F up, yelled the steward. Guy, she continued, still loud but not deafening, get a GS. Lee and Tenten were killed in a sound ambush the day before yesterday. You couldn't have saved them. I'm sorry but you need to move on, she said to the Genin. Guy was silent. He glared at Sakura angrily but didn't speak. Now, said the steward, this has gotten out of hand. She bit her lip for a second before continuing and took a breath to steady herself. Guy is right though, we need to hit Orochimaru soon and as hard as we can, but Shikamaru also has a point. We can't be sure that Orochimaru doesn't have an ace in the hole, so we can't empty the village out and go full steam ahead against him. Bulls, barked Naruto. We can. Can it, Naruto? Said Shikamaru. We need to act soon and standing around arguing isn't doing us any good. How about a compromise? We need to wipe Oto out, said Naruto. And to do that I need an army. The rest of the room all looked between Naruto and Shikamaru. Not true, said Shikamaru. We only need to KO Orochimaru, not destroy Oto. We don't need a repeat of what happened at Kiri. What happened at Kiri? Asked Jiraiya. Naruto paused. I attacked the village directly. Good job Naruto, said Guy, bastards had it coming for allying themselves with Orochimaru. Guy, hissed Sakura. Contain yourself. She turned back to Shikamaru. What are you suggesting? Shikamaru thought, or looked for a second like he was thinking. Naruto, Guy, would it satisfy you both if we killed Orochimaru? Of course, said the two Genin together. Then let's do it with as little collateral damage as possible, continued the Anbu operative. Let's send in a small team and assassinate the bastard. That way we can protect the village and end the war. All we have to do is cut off the head of the snake, if you'll pardon the pun. The room fell silent for a minute. That works for me, Guy said finally, his voice low. As long as Orochimaru is I'll be satisfied. Naruto, asked Shikamaru, turning to the cage Genin. What do you think? We could send in a team of 2, maybe 3 and get everything done quickly, quietly, and cleanly. We could catch Orochimaru off balance while he's trying to rebuild and it would all be over. Naruto hesitated, looking between Ino, his bodyguards, and Sakura. Trina almost spoke up, wanting to suggest that they be allowed to accompany the assassins, but she decided it wasn't her place to offer advice in a setting like this. From the look on Karena's and Alicia's faces, they had reached the same conclusion. Fine, said Naruto, his voice upset. Shikamaru, you win, but who would you suggest actually tries to assassinate Orochimaru in his own village? Again, Shikamaru paused. You and Jiraiya would be best for the job, he said to Naruto. You both know how to infiltrate a city undetected, and together you'd be more than capable of getting to Orochimaru. What about the resurrected fourth? Asked the crane ninja in a smooth voice from the corner of the room. Ino jumped as he spoke, and everyone turned to look at him. My name's Toby by the way, said the ninja, and I think you're all overlooking the fact that Orochimaru still has the fourth. I can deal with him, said Jiraiya in a venomous tone. It's my place anyway. I'll take out the fourth. Fine, said Toby shortly, crossing his arms. But you'd probably KO yourself in the process, which leaves Naruto alone against Orochimaru and Sasuke. Do you really think he could handle them both? My point is that you need to send more than 2 men. You'd be best advised to send an army frankly. We can't spare the men, said Shikamaru. But you have the crane, said Toby, eyeing the Nara ninja warily. What's to worry about? We can defend Konoha. Shikamaru trembled once but didn't flinch. My guard can handle themselves, said Chuji stubbornly. Oh, Chuji-san, said Toby. I'd forgotten you were here. I've had nothing to say until now, said the lieutenant. But with all due respect, my men can keep Konoha safe without your interference. We don't need the crane running things here. Your steward seems to disagree, said Toby. And it's her call. Chuji winced. Damn it, fretted the redhead silently. Naruto looks like he's starting to get angry at all of this. She glanced at Kurena. Say something, she wanted to implore her more influential sister. We have to go with Naruto-sama. It's not that we don't trust the crane, said Shikamaru placatingly. I for one am glad to have them here, but we don't know what kind of surprises Orochimaru has in store. Maybe he's waiting for us to empty Konoha out to make it an easier target. Take us, said Trina, fed up and stepping up and gesturing to her sisters. Together the three of us would be more than a match for any one ninja, excepting Orochimaru, Jiraiya, or Naruto of course, but we could handle Sasuke, which would leave it an even fight for Naruto and Orochimaru. We can at least level the playing field. Thank you, Shikamaru mentally gasped, not showing his anxiety. He didn't trust this Toby, not at all. Toby didn't answer immediately. It doesn't matter, he thought to himself. It's all the same. Orochimaru is destroyed and so is Konoha. It doesn't matter how many troops they leave at home. In the end the crane will overwhelm them anyway. That satisfies me, said Toby casually. I was only worried about Naruto. I suppose it's even possible that the five of you could catch the fourth alone and overwhelm him, making Orochimaru that much more vulnerable. Naruto nodded. I don't like it, he said. It's not how I want to fight, but it makes sense. Getting into Orochimaru's palace wouldn't be too difficult, and even if we were discovered, we could fight our way in, and though easily enough, alright, I'll say go for it. When do we leave? Tomorrow morning, 11 am, interrupted Sakura. Rest up, but we need to get this moving before Orochimaru has the chance to recover. We need to end this war before anything can go wrong. Understood, everyone in the room acknowledged at once. Get some rest, all of you. Toby, I appreciate everything you've done especially, but all of you get out for now, said Sakura, her voice suddenly exhausted. But Naruto, Ino, you two stay, her tone became icy cold. The room emptied out quickly. Shikamaru and Jiraiya both patted Naruto on the back, the trio of ninja wishing the others good luck in the fight to come, while the sisters, Chuji and Guy all left without a word, right behind Toby. Sakura, said Naruto in a placating tone as the door shut behind Kurena with a quiet click. The steward stood up and began walking around her desk. Ino had nothing to do with this. It was all me. Bastard, shouted the kunoichi, lashing out like a viper and slamming her palm into Naruto's cheek. The blonde ninja didn't even resist. He took the hit full on as Ino watched. Naruto jerked to the side with blow and his head knocked against the sharp corner of a bookshelf. He felt the skin of his scalp split on the edge, though his head did far more damage, knocking a shelf loose and dropping a dozen books to the ground. Ino took a deep breath, not wanting to be angry, but finding it difficult to stand by while Naruto was abused. You disloyal little s, Sakura hissed. This was your plan from the beginning, wasn't it? You'd gain my trust and feed my insecurities until I was eating out of the palm of your hand. There were tears streaming down the sides of her face, leaving small trails of salt in their wake. I'll bet you even lied about not remembering it was Ino who nearly killed you when Jiraiya found you. You probably even planned Kakashi's death, didn't you? You've been hatching this scheme since then, haven't you? Before then actually, said Naruto standing up and rubbing his head. He was calm and glad Sakura was focusing on him rather than Ino. I suspected Orochimaru brought Ino back ever since we knew he'd revived the demon and the fourth. It's just something he'd do to get to me. Sakura only fumed for a minute, but broke down and began to hiccup out little sobs as the anger broke on her face, replaced by a weariness and despair. I should have known this would happen, she fought back a sob, walking back around her desk and flopping down in the chair. Naruto, you've changed. She wiped the tears from her face, making way for a fresh wave. Naruto nodded, but his breath caught. Her anger was easy to defend against, but this. I'm sorry I hurt you, he said quietly as Ino took a step back and leaned against an undamaged bookshelf. But I couldn't take the risk of you not backing me up. Sakura sobbed and began to cry. This isn't right, not at all, she groaned. Naruto, how could you do this to anyone, much less me? Naruto, how could you treat anyone like they were less than human? I wouldn't treat a dog, she cried again and dropped her elbows tiredly on the desk. You're inhuman, Naruto. You're a beastly thing. How could you? She began to cry all the more, dropping her head on the desk. Sakura, said Ino, feeling a twinge of guilt. Please try. Don't. I don't want to hear a word from you, you slut. Sakura's anger flared again as she looked up. Her face was torn and hard, streaked with red lines and wet trails. This is all your fault in the first place. It's both your faults. You're all working against me. Everyone is against me. Both of you. She began to shriek, her voice tumbling up and down in hysterics. Both of you get the F out. Sakura, Naruto's voice was almost pleading as his heart thumped painfully in his chest. Out. Ino took Naruto's hand in hers and nudged him gently for the door. He didn't resist and they quickly walked out onto the walkway again, shutting the door behind them just in time to contain the muzz of pain within the room's thick walls. God, what did I do? Naruto groaned, hearing Sakura's muffled, panic-stricken crying through the glass windows. I never meant for it to be this bad. Ino squeezed his hand. This is what happens when you close your heart off. Her voice wasn't judgmental though it was firm. If you're heartless with anyone, even for a short time it is going to hurt them and it is going to hurt you when you realize just what you put him through. Naruto took a deep breath. Seeing Sakura like that, I'm never going to be able to make up for this, he muttered. Not ever. No, you couldn't. You've broken her heart, Naruto, said Ino. Again, she was firm but understanding, loving. But you're going to have to try and hope she can forgive you. First though, you're going to have to forgive yourself for what you've done to her. Naruto closed his eyes. Puts a lot in perspective, doesn't it? Ino asked quietly, leaning against him. He nodded. I never could have planned for this. What was I thinking? I really am some kind of bastard. Ino tightened her grip on him, nuzzling her face against his shoulder. Do better, love, she said quietly. You messed up, but you've got to use this to push yourself forward. Grow and learn. Naruto groaned again, listening as Sakura's crying leveled out only a little. You're not helping my pride here, he said to Ino. Ino shook her head. Your pride is what got you into this, she said gently. Thinking you could get away with using people and hurting them without consequences, trying to convince yourself that you could close off a heart as big as yours, those are what got you into this. Naruto, your pride doesn't need helping. You need to get over yourself. I'm so sorry, Naruto said quietly, feeling cold. I should have seen. Ino, you shouldn't have to be telling me all this. I'm sorry. I love you, Naruto, said the girl, turning and standing in front of him, looking up into his eyes. Naruto, I love you so much I'm not afraid to tell you when you've seriously messed up, and that's why you'll never need to apologize to me. Just promise me you won't ever pull any stunts like this with Sakura or anyone again. You've got too beautiful of a heart to do this to yourself or anyone else. You're too good a person to resort to this. Naruto nodded, a single tear slipping from the corner of his eye as he took a beleaguered breath. It's never going to happen again, he mumbled. I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. Naruto, whispered Ino, stepping forward and embracing him. Don't let this destroy you. You're too good for that. You've got a good heart. Let's just work together to fix things, and I swear I'll help you however I can. But most importantly, you've got to move on, okay? He opened his eyes but didn't smile. Right, he said. I'll move on from this, thank you, Ino. That's what I'm here for, she said, taking his hand again as they began walking down the way towards the stairs. It's my job to slap you upside the head sometimes, be the voice of reason others and love you through it all, but you've really got to rest up for tomorrow. Let's go, Naruto. He nodded, and kept walking, his mind churning. As they reached the edge of the stairs, Naruto nearly stepped out into thin air without thinking. His mind was so preoccupied. Ino reached out quickly and seized his arm as they went down. Every step made Naruto's chest feel a little lighter, even if the guilt was still very, very present. As they reached the ground, one thought burst into Naruto's mind, but he held it in, biting his tongue to keep from saying anything until he'd thought it out. Ino, Naruto said quietly after they'd gone a few minutes in silence and reached the gate of the Hokage's complex, before we go any further, I've got something to ask. I know it's hardly appropriate now, but they both stopped. Will you stay with me? Naruto's heart skipped a beat. His whole frame went weak as the question left him. He knew she would know what he meant. The Yamanaka girl grinned. She understood, and it had made her mind tremble with excitement. Her heart had been waiting for just that question for so long now, since she'd first met Naruto, it seemed to her now. For as long as you'll have me, she echoed him, the words resounding in both their minds like world-shaking bells. Naruto smiled weakly but genuinely, truly exhausted now, and squeezed her hand. There was no question on either face. He would love her as long as he lived, and she would never leave him. There had been no ring, no engagement, and no ceremony, nothing but two people who the world might call too young, but there had been enough. They'd both understood. They'd both agreed, and in a silent commitment, they'd both promised. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.